There we, there we go. We are recording now. So I have the pleasure of throwing now to Des Water. He's Director of E-Learning and Head of Biology at Palmerston North Boys School in New Zealand. And Des, over to you.
Thanks very much. Firstly, thanks to Martin for giving me the opportunity to present today. And what I'm presenting on is not the golden bullet, but it is technology that works for us at our school. We need to stop saying that we're preparing for 21st century learners. We're living in the 21st century now. So what I'm going to talk about is why we do what we do. It's important to keep asking why, not how, not what, but why. Does it improve student outcomes? Does it improve student engagement and learning? So why is the important question? First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about my school. So I work at Palmerston North Boys High, as Martin said. It's located in the central North Island of New Zealand. It's a traditional single-sex all-boys school, which is Decile 8. And really our school motto and values are nothing achieved without hard work, which is pretty similar to my own values. We've got about 1,800 students. We've got 400 Year 9s already enrolled for next year, and we've got 120 staff. Logistically, that poses some obstacles in terms of introducing technology in the classroom and just making sure everybody is up to speed. Nationally, we've had students that win Prime Minister Awards, which means they're finished in the top 5% in the top 5 students in New Zealand. We get scholarships regularly. Sporting-wise, we have students that represent us nationally, cycling, swimming. We send teams over for cricket, rugby, and basketball. And we've started this digital learning experience about 4 years ago. We introduced it in the senior school, where we've had Chromebooks, and boys have been able to bring their own device and book out Chromebooks and teacher sets of Chromebooks. Next year, we're going to students having to bring their own laptops from year 10 to year 13, with year 9 still not bringing their own devices. In terms of that, we want students who do come from a digital background with intermediate and primary schools still to be able to read and write and answer questions on paper effectively, just to make a well-rounded student. We are a Google-based school, but we've incorporated some of Microsoft products as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play you a short video clip from, actually it's from CNN, based around some of the boys at our school. Actually, the sound's playing on that. So as you can see, we've got a wide range of young men at our school from a range of different backgrounds. That was actually at a teacher's funeral, so our boys are very respectful. It's 1,800 boys doing the haka there, and that was displayed worldwide. So the question is, why the change? NCEA is our national qualification authority. And they have a goal of going to examinations where appropriate by 2020 online. And so they're moving from this paper delivery system to anywhere, anytime online eventually. And so we're trying to get ready for that. I tried it this year in terms of my own classes, and they also did a maths trial. It didn't work so well because all we did was all they did as well was take a paper copy and put it online. So I think that they're looking from the ground up and trying to change those. At least that's what Education Perfect's been saying. So what they want to do, for example, is take a test, have a student, let's say on a ramp, and change the surface of that ramp from metal, on a skateboard, from metal to glass to wood or carpet, and looking at the coefficient of friction or something like that. So the exams become more interactive and a wee bit more of a learning experience for the students. Going to technology, for us, there are definitely some challenges. So we want every student in our school to have a laptop with a keyboard and preferably a touch screen, and that'll become more. I'll give you the reasons for that in a second. The reason that we would like a keyboard is because some of the studies that Malai Kalani Cluster did in Auckland and some readings that we've done have shown or have suggested that it actually improves literacy. We also have a challenge in terms of our internet. We need fast, reliable, effective internet, which is getting better at the school, but it is not 100% perfect. For us, we have a policy of no phones and no tablets. It has to be a laptop. However, I do think tablets with a keyboard could become a feature in the future. It's just at present, senior management is not that keen on that option. So that's the why. We need to look at changing our students for NZQA and how our exams are potentially going to go. In our school, we've got Moodle or Stratus. I'm going to see if this clicker works. It wasn't working for me before. Hopefully it works for me now. So our Moodle or our Stratus is the central hub of our school. All right, we have academic, which is our department stuff. We have apps that students use. We've got a student tab, co-curricular, which is quite heavily used as well, and staff. Our students access our Gmail and OneDrives and Google Docs from here as well. When our students access things, they go into departments. It would pull up a department page with the blurb on our department, and then it would break into the specific topics within that department. So this is level 3 biology, and here's the topics that we teach. If a student were to click on this topic, it would open up a whole lot of links, books, resources, and Turnitin. And that's where I'm going to talk about Turnitin with you guys now. So for us, Turnitin's actually become quite a big part of our school. All right. Students really have, for us, grasped that it promotes creativity, independent writing, also acknowledgement of ideas and referencing, and it's improved the academic integrity of their work. So students really are keen on the similarity value here, and they want it as low as possible. It was kind of an added benefit that we never thought about when we introduced it. We were just doing it to catch for plagiarism, but the boys really like this number as small as possible. So for those of you that use Turnitin, this is going to be a little bit of telling you to suck eggs, but for those of you that don't, this is what it looks like when you run it in Moodle, and it's just, we call it Stratus. So the student's going to see his name, submission, date submitted, similarity, and in New Zealand we mark on achieved merit and excellence and are not achieved for someone who hasn't met the criteria. So you have to give that a grade. So 1 out of 4 being not achieved, 2 out of 4 being achieved, and so on and so forth. All right. What the student will see is when they click on this, it's going to give them their paper with the similarities, as all of you will know. You can click on to the paper and see where it's come from. And then what we found very, very useful is the marking rubrics. And I'm going to expand this marking rubric out in a second. It saves a massive amount of time when marking. It also helps us, or I believe it helps mark holistically, and you're not marking a point-by-point basis, which is what we need for internal marking with our assessments. So, just a second. So once you expand that rubric out, we mark it on a percentage base here. It's just how you set your rubric up, and you put your judgment statement in the top. This donates 100% of the mark. Okay, as I said, not achieved being worth 1, achieved 2, merit 3, and excellence 4. This is the criteria that the students have to meet. Do they understand human manipulation or whatever it is? Do they demonstrate in-depth understanding, or do they demonstrate comprehensive understanding? And these are just the criteria that have to be met within each of these judgment statements. I find that doing it like this, it links very, very well with Solo Taxonomy. If you haven't heard of Solo Taxonomy, if you just type in SOLO, it's by Pam Hook. Well, it's not by Pam Hook, she's the one who introduced it in New Zealand. And it just goes through the levels of thinking and understanding. There's really 5 levels, one being pre-structural, where the student doesn't understand anything, unistructural, where they've got one idea, multi-structural, where they've got numerous ideas, relational, where they can actually link ideas together, and then you've got extended abstract, where they can make predictions, hypothesis, and so on and so forth. I do find marking like this has saved us time. Once these marking rubrics are set up, you basically just tick, 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 apply rubric, obviously depending on where the students are. And because it's not a point-based system for us, it helps us focus on that holistic outcome as to, does a student understand? Once you've marked, and if you're in New Zealand and you have to submit your stuff for external moderation, we have to select 8 papers where we send it off to NZQA for moderation. So you basically just download all the papers as PDFs. It's got the marking rubric attached, the mark, and the date of submission. And you simply go onto the NZQA page, select how you're going to, which standard it is, click on it and submit it. It's faster than filling out the pieces of paper of old. So as I said before, we're a Google-based school. So we use Google Docs, slides, sheets, forms, and drawings, as well as Google Sites. We also use it for our teacher appraisal. So Google Classroom, we introduced Google Classroom maybe 3 years ago. We've put our teacher appraisal onto Google Classroom. This was the Deputy Director, Jerry Atkin. He's given it to us, we fill it out, and once we've finished it, we submit it to him. It's easy, it works, and it's a way of him keeping track of whether teachers have actually filled their registration out or not. So this works for students and for teachers. The Google Docs, slides, and sheets are great. Their big strength is in their simplicity. All right, I have found with the Google stuff, it's easier for a student to download their work as a PDF and then upload it and to turn it in that way. With Moodle, it doesn't really like. With Moodle, it doesn't really like to accept the Google stuff straight off, or it's not as easy. The boys find it slightly tricky. Another plus is there's lots of plugins like Lucid Charts and Lucid Press. We've also put a lot of departmental documentation onto the Google Drives and classrooms for staff as well. I've started exploring Google Sites with my classes. It's a great way of mixing it up. Why always do a test? For my Year 10s now, I actually get them to, instead of doing a test on the human body, they make a Google site, they put all information on that, and they present it to class. It's a great way for them to learn another skill as well as applying context to something that they may use in the future. Something that I'm probably a little bit more excited about in terms of technology at the moment is the Microsoft stuff. I really believe that Microsoft's making massive leaps and bounds in terms of the educational market. You've got all the standard things. So, for example, you have OneNote, but they've incorporated OneNote Class for those of you who haven't used it. OneNote Class allows you to add students and teachers to a class so that you can collaborate, you can work, you can give ideas out. Basically, I don't print anymore because you can get all the information out there. The reason that I said I like a touchscreen laptop or tablet is because students can write on screen now. So they can show processes as well as draw them out, and it just makes the whole thing a wee bit more interactive. In your OneNote class, you have a collaboration space. This is just not expanded. Your collaboration space is where students can work on a whole lot of stuff together. So, for example, instead of using Lucid Charts or Lucid Press in Google, you can get them to be drawing mind maps and working together in that collaboration space. A content library, or the content library, is where you put all your resources. Think of it like your filing cabinet. So your filing cabinet sits there, you're dropping in resources, and students can access those. They then take those and put them into their own work down here. So whether that's handouts, class notes, homework. You can make whatever you want in terms of these, and so can they. And you've got your students here. The big plus for me, particularly with teaching young men, is it organises their work. And organisation of their work and ideas is key. They also have some great tools like the Learning Tools add-in and the Classroom add-in. The Learning Tools add-in, I find, particularly when you're teaching a low ability class or student with dyslexia, it helps greatly because you have an immersive reader. So it actually highlights the words of whatever you paste in here and reads it out to them. You also have speech to text, so they can talk to it and it will type it up. It doesn't work so well with the New Zealand accent, but works okay if you're American. And the class notes is where you can distribute notes in this OneNote class. I really do like that, and I think it's an amazing bit of kit. Since I've started using it, I don't use Google Classroom anymore. However, as a school, we let teachers choose what they would like to use because everybody's an individual, and I think that students that are exposed to a wide range of things can only help them in the future. Mail and calendar, you guys all know what that is. Sway is a great presentation tool. Think about Sway as PowerPoint on steroids, I guess. You can put in pictures that overlay on each other, compare and contrast pictures. Super easy to use. You take a Word document, you can take a PDF, you can take whatever you like. You just drop and drag it into Sway once you've signed up and click Mix, and it does it all for you. Instead of clicking through a PowerPoint like I'm doing now, you can actually scroll through the screen sideways, up or down. You can zoom in and out on things. I was a big fan of Prezi. I like Sway more. For those of you that haven't used Prezi, Prezi is really cool. It's an online tool where you can zoom into a picture and put ideas on there. And we use all these things with our classes as well. Word, PowerPoint, and Excel you've all used. However, the collaboration in these now, and by using OneNote or OneDrive, online, allows you to edit students' work, collaborate with them, allow them to collaborate with each other, except you get the full functionality of Excel and PowerPoint and Word, which is why I prefer it over the Google stuff, and the Microsoft Forms self-mark, which is a big plus. So you could put on a multi-choice quiz if you wanted to, incorporate that into your OneNote class as a link, and it will self-mark for you. Power BI, if you're a maths teacher or economics teacher, this really displays figures very, very nicely. Yammer is like Microsoft's Facebook. I've found that if you ask a question on Yammer, if you're not sure on how to do something, they do tend to answer it within about 2 minutes, and it's a great tool. SharePoint is, for me, it's something that I'm looking at now. As all of you know, with departments, people come and people go, and what happens is you need to have their resources. By putting it onto SharePoint, it stays there when the person goes. It has a limited amount of space, but it is great. And just at the bottom here, you can see you've got a calendar. So you can put things in a calendar there as well as tasks. Finally, the Edge, Microsoft Edge, or the internet browser, is pretty cool. It's not my default browser. I still use Chrome, but I do like some of the little add-in features that you have here. So you can highlight on your browser, you can underline, you can write notes if you have a touch screen, and you can use the clipper to cut and paste this into your OneNote class. So you can make your browser a wee bit more interactive than traditionally speaking. If you're in New Zealand, you understand exactly what this is. If you're not, I'm just going to explain it quickly to you. Every 3 years, we have to register in New Zealand for teaching. We have 12 teaching criteria, and this is one thing that the staff are using a lot, whether it be OneDrive, a Google Drive, or a blog. They set it up pretty similarly, okay, where you've got your teaching criteria. You hyperlink those to other documents, and you simply click on these and fill out the one that's relevant. You then have evidence, because with us, we not only need to reflect, we need evidence. So you have an evidence folder with folders 1 to 12, and you just drop your evidence in there and it works amazingly well. It's slick, it's efficient, and it just works. I try to keep to the KISS method, which is keep it simple, stupid, so that I can keep working with it. And this OneDrive registration, as I said, you can use it on a blog. You just do the same thing by putting in pages on the side. If you're interested in doing any of that Microsoft stuff that I've been doing, we did the Microsoft Digital Learning Experience this year. So Microsoft Digital Learning Experience was actually a really cool thing. You get to trial OneNote class. Microsoft sends you 30 devices, 30 touchscreen devices to your school, and you get to give it a go. It allows students to see what it's like with a device, a touchscreen device. And if you're interested in doing that, the lady that you need to contact is Anne Taylor from Microsoft. Since I've done this, I won't be going back to Google in the near future. As I said, what it looks like in terms of Microsoft is like this. So just to explain it again, you have a content library where you drop your stuff. You have a collaboration space where you and your students and everybody works together, and students have their own individual notes. All right? So you get to keep those devices, work on them, and have a proper play with and see how they work. In terms of other tools that we use, I also teach ICT, so we build websites using Notepad++. The more advanced students who like code and working in all that sort of geeky stuff, they quite like Notepad++, and it's quite a neat little thing for them to do. We're just starting to work with one of the internet providers in town so that they can have their own internet space where they can upload web pages. We use Zaption, which is actually becoming obsolete, so we have moved to Visio. And what that does is it allows you to make YouTube clips or little video clips interactive. So you'd have a video clip where you overlay questions onto it. So back in the day, you might have stopped the question. You'd say to all the students, okay, write this down and write down the answer and so on and so forth. And actually, I still see it done today sometimes. But now what you can do is you can input a video into this online software, overlay questions, and it gives you some analytics. How many times has a student gone back and watched that video? And they get to answer questions. You can set these videos for homework. You can do it with a flipped classroom, and it works very well. As I said, variety is key in my classroom, and exposing students to as much as possible is great. WeVideo and YouTube. WeVideo is an editing software. So our social studies teachers wanted to do something on current issues. And what they've done is they're taking current issues now, maybe the US election, and they're putting it together in a video, speaking over it, and presenting it to the class, all putting it on YouTube. So my guys at the moment, we're getting ready for exams. They're making how-to videos, how to understand the pollination of a plant, or how to understand how the genes are expressed. And they put it onto YouTube, and the one with the most views is the winner. So you have to make good videos, and it's a cool little incentive. As I said before, you have mind mapping software like XMind, FreeMind, Lucidcharts. They're great for the start of a unit or the end of a unit, where you can mind map ideas, flesh them out, and see where they are at the end. And ETV is quite cool in terms of videos, movies, and documentary. You can request recordings. As a teacher and as a lecturer, I assume, you can actually download those. And as a handy bonus, they actually have Game of Thrones in there as well. This week, and some of you may have heard of this already, but I discovered Grammarly for the first time. And Grammarly there is a paid version, but there's a free version. You can add it into Word, Chrome, Google Docs, and your email, and it susses out your grammar for you. And the students actually really like it at this time of year with all their report writing. It's a really, really handy little add-in. So, Pond. Pond is becoming bigger and bigger. For me, it's kind of like the old TKI, where you can find resources. You make a profile, you add resources. Whenever I take a resource off here, I try to add one or two just to give something back. I haven't used it much. It is something that I'm starting to explore more and more. But with my seniors leaving, finding lessons, videos, worksheets, and websites, this site's magic. So if you haven't, you probably should sign up to Pond. With technology in the classroom, you also have to have a grasp of social media. We've gone pretty big into social media of late at our school. We've got a school page where we post announcements, where old boys can meet. It's great for networking, connecting with the community. We have class pages, so this is a Cowder section that we did, that I got a guy to do for my class. You can post those up. It's a place where students can actually go, see some cool learning taking place. Parents can go see some cool things happening, and you're interacting with the community. You're getting community buy-in, and it's really, really positive. I use Twitter for my homework, so I post my homework on Twitter, and I get all the parents to follow me, and the students, so they don't have to write down homework anymore. Parents don't ring me or ask me at parent-teacher interviews, hey, does my son have homework? My son comes home, he's never got homework, so on and so forth. It's all posted on Twitter. They follow it. They know what their son's doing and what he's got, and so they can see what he's got for homework on Twitter, and they can see what he's been doing in class in the day. I also use a blog. I use a blog, so Palmer PNBHS e-learning, and I put all stuff that I find on the internet on there, and I always link it back to the page just so that I'm referencing where I found it from. So this is slightly old now, but these were just Zaption alternatives. As I said, I'm a big fan of Zaption, so I had to find something, and staff at my school also really, really like Zaption. So this brings me to Simon Sink's motto of why. You've got to keep going back to why you use technology. That needs to be at the center of what you do. Why are you doing what you do? Then you talk about how you're going to do it and what you're going to do. But if you can't answer the question as to why, you're not doing it right, in my opinion. So I think that there needs to be a balance. I think students do need to remember things, and why I say that is because some people have gone all into this creative learning, but students do need to remember things, in my opinion. When they go into the wider world, if you get a heart surgeon, I'd prefer him to understand on how to do heart surgery rather than researching it. You also want students to be able to research stuff, find information, find relevant information, filter it out. So for me, I think there needs to be a balance, but ultimately, if you can relate what you're teaching to the real world, make it meaningful, and use technology to make that easier, but think of it as a tool and not the whole answer, you can't really go wrong with that. I just wanted to play you a video. This is Shift Happens, and if you want to see the full video, you can have a look at it on YouTube. There's a link there. This is just a few snippets as to why I've gone to digital technology and computers in my classroom. So I actually really love playing it for my classes because it just shows them some changes that's happening as well. And as I said, the reality is that for us, NCA is looking at online exams. And eventually, I'm told that they want to be anywhere, anytime online. I don't know how they're going to get to that, but that is their pipe dream. And so we need to be prepared for that in the future. This here is the New Zealand curriculum, and as you can see with that, you want your students to be confident, connected, lifelong learners. For me, that basically works exactly the same as 21st century learners, where you want critical thinkers who communicate, collaborate, and are creative. So for me, 21st century learners and the NZ curriculum go hand in hand, and it can only be a good thing. Thanks very much for listening to my speech, my presentation, and I'll hand you back over to Mark.
Cool. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Des. It was a great presentation. Now, there's a couple of questions that I've flagged. So, look, one of them I'll answer myself. It's from Frank. It's about what is the acceptable percentage for similarity. Frank, I can send you a couple of presentations, a couple of webcasts that we did before. But what I would say is that there is no set figure for what is an acceptable score. It would all depend on the presentation, the type of presentation, or the type of work that the student's handing in concerning referencing, etc. But what I can do is I can send you that. So a couple of other things. A question, Des, from Vicky. Google Classroom and online Microsoft online apps. Is there a fee for those?
So for no, not in terms of Microsoft.
No.
I honestly can't.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Google. I don't think that there is. That was implemented before my time at Voice Height. But in terms of Microsoft in the classroom, if you go to microsoft.co.nz/student office and you use your university, I'm assuming it works for university, but I'm 100% sure if you use your school email, you'll get all the Microsoft stuff for free. So even if you're at home, you can download all Microsoft stuff onto your computer, like Office, the 365 package and everything, for free onto 5 devices if you're a teacher. But
that's
I do think that there was as Stephen said there, I do think that there is a one-off setup cost. But there is unlimited storage with Google. There's a terabyte for your Microsoft stuff.
All right, brilliant. Okay then. Sorry, I was jumping. I was also, and some of those were open source that you showed there, Des, as well.
Pretty much all of that is open source, to be fair. Pretty much all of that's open source.
That was just a question. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Okay then. Now, everyone will get a copy of the presentation. I think we're just about out of time. What do you think, Des? Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right then. Well, look, I'll just end with just a couple of things. First of all, I will thank Des for obviously taking part today and giving us his time. I think that was an absolutely excellent presentation, which everybody should get something out of. A couple of other things. There will be an email coming out. With a link to this presentation and with information about the WITE conference, which is happening in Thailand in 26th to 28th of March next year. If you're looking for information on educational and technology conference, certainly have a look at that link. That would be excellent. Also, if you're wanting to take part in any presentations, webcasts, more than happy to. If you reply to that email, that would be great. Or if you're actually wanting any topics covered, that would also happy to hear from those, and I'll see what I can do to facilitate it. But look, thank you everybody else. Again, Des, thank you so much for taking your time to put it together. And thanks everyone, and take care.